All right. I think everyone is on board with us in the meeting room. So good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? I hope everyone is doing well and are ready for this enrichment day. So without we'll just begin with the session we have today. This is the fifth virtual enrichment day. Can you go to the next slide, Nat? So our topic for today is research academic integrity, how to conduct good research. And we have our special speaker, Dr. Nirawat Thamajak from Vice President from TSRI, who will share information with us later as well. But before we begin our talk, I would like to walk you all through for our program today. So for today's program, we will begin with the short welcome by Prof. Peter, our project director from Osnabrück University of Applied Science. After that, we'll follow by the word cloud and speaker introduction by Dr. Rom Yen for about 20 minutes, more or less. And then it will be followed by the presentation by our guest speaker, Dr. Nirawat, for about 40 minutes until 3 o'clock. And then after the presentation, we have a short activity for you all to join with us in the word cloud and also the Q&A. So during the Q&A session, we would like to encourage everyone to ask any questions directly to B-Boy, who will also Kun Nirawat, who also be our guest speaker, which is very good opportunity for you all to meet directly with him today. So I think it's about time that we begin the session. So I would like to hand the floor over to Dr. Rom Yen, who will introduce the speaker and begin with the first session.
Okay, Ploy, you don't want Peter to welcome lah.
Oh, sorry. So Prof. Peter, yeah, we will come first.
Yes, so welcome. Good to see you all, and I'm happy to have today Dr. Nirawat from Thailand to speak to us. And I think this topic is of high relevance for all of us over there in Southeast Asia, here in Germany. So we constantly think about how to do good research and what is actually required to do it in a manner that people see that as integrity, which is applied. And so to listen today to Dr. Nirawat, who is really a renowned person, not only in Thailand, but in Southeast Asia, is, I think, an opportunity, a golden opportunity. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure I will learn a lot myself. So back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think Ploy would just direct it next to me. But before we go into the introduction of our speaker, let's have the usual word clouds. So we would like to get your engagement as much as possible. So if we can have the question for the word cloud, we would like you to scan the QR code that you see on the screen. Please scan it, please. It's the Mentimeter. And in that Mentimeter, please, in your view, why do you think is research integrity important for conducting a good research? Why do you think research integrity is important, as part of the conducting a good research? So please, scan it and then give you a short answer. Why do you think research integrity is important? You can also check in the chat box because there is also the link to Mentimeter. If it is easier for you to use the link, then you can go to the chat box. Otherwise, you can do the scan. Okay, why do you think research integrity is important for conducting a good research? Okay, we can have maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, and then maybe you can show the screen for the Mentimeter, see some inputs that has been coming in. Okay, we have 5 responses, and none are similar. Very diverse. Okay, keep coming in. Just key in what you think is important, why the integrity, research integrity is important. Now, just considering, just come back from Indonesia, and people talk about AI a lot, and, the word is changing as well. So when we think about integrity, there are so many aspects we can think about it. But why do you think it is important? You can access the Mentimeter through the links in the chat box. If you have a problems, you can type into the chat. Can you refresh the screen, please? Maybe it needs refreshing. It's very still, Okay, that can be also done. Dr. Cho Chong Min, the rector, now also said improve quality. Okay. So there are so many responses already, 16 responses. So there are something about the quality. I think how many people talks about quality? You talk about academic quality, and also the research that should reflect the quality and the quality of the research. There is also a talk about public trust and also the reliability. There is also the comment about the honesty, because integrity is about honesty, trustworthiness. There's also the integrity for transparency, fairness, ownership, public confidence, trust, academic prestige. And it's a basic minimum, of the scientist attitude that you need to have integrity. Okay, so now we have 25 response. There is one on the ownership as well. Utilization of potentials to get success. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, because we have 25 responses and we have 27 person in the room. So I think in summation, some of the responses pointing out to the quality. So integrity is very, very important because it reflects the quality of the research itself. It's also important to highlight that a lot of people talks about honesty, trustworthiness, and the public trust, for the research. There is also a discussion about, a scientist attitude, because if you are the scientist, you have to make sure that the research has its integrity. There is also the issues about the reputations and fairness as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for the participations. Now, I think that is a good warming up already, and we can share this result with you. But I think without further ado, and like Peter has already mentioned at the beginning, I am very honored to introduce to you our speaker, Dr. Nirawat Thamachak. He is the vice president of Thailand Science Research and Innovation. So if you know Thailand well, in terms of the landscape of the research, TSRI is in charge, and it is the organization that is in charge of the management of the policy for research for the whole country. Plus, they are managing a lot of funding for research, if not all. And people Dr. Nirawat can also tell you about it more. He is now the vice president for TSRI. But for himself, he is one of the young and the brightest scientists in Thailand. And he used to work in the Synchrotron Research Institute, right, people? And Synchrotron, if you know, is Synchrotron Life Research Institute. The Synchrotron is a high-level scientific machines that, very expensive, and we don't really have it a lot in many countries. Thailand is having one, and also building another one. He graduated with the Doctor of Philosophy from Oxford University with a prestigious scholarship called Domus Award. And after that, he has been working as a scientist himself, and he has so many patents and also breakthroughs. Now he's working for the administration of the research in Thailand. And I think his expertise together with his administration skills, it will be great for us to hear from him of what make a good research, especially for the research integrity. So Bibai, the floor is yours. You may take 30 minutes or 40 minutes, depends. And then I invited all the participants to throw in the questions as you go along, either in the chat box or later. Floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Romyen, for introducing me. And also thank you to Peter for having me this afternoon. May I start with a slide? I got my secretary coming as well, so she will show the slide. As Dr. Romyen mentioned about synchrotron facility, actually in Germany, there is also one that I got inspired when I was a young student. That's called DAISY in Hamburg. That went back in like 2005 when I was like a summer student there. And at the time in Thailand, starting a synchrotron research facility in Korat, and now become like a Synchrotron Light Research Institute, which is a national synchrotron facility in Thailand. And as Dr. Romyen mentioned, that we are planning for a new 3GeV facility in Rayong. Hopefully the government will agree on that. So this will be one of the best synchrotron facility in ASEAN, and which is now we also have already one, the biggest one in ASEAN right now in Korat. Okay, and we also welcome members from ASEAN countries to use the synchrotron light source over there. A lot from Philippines and a lot from Indonesia. Okay, for the topic today, research and academic integrity, which is given for me to talk about what we are doing in Thailand and what is relevant about this research community in Thailand. Okay, next page. So this will be the outlines for a pretty short time, 30 minutes. So I'll give some in brief. Okay, so first, let me start with the introduction of the National Science Research and Innovation System in Thailand. So next page. Next page, please. For the structure, yes, this is a new reform in the country since 5 years ago, when we had the National Science Research and Innovation System from 2019. You see that on the top, we have the policy level in the purple color here. We have the super board, is called National Higher Education Science Research and Innovation Policy Council, which is the one that's chaired by the Prime Minister. Okay, and about 10 ministers in the country in this council. So it's like a small cabinet with some other experts in the field. And we have the Office of National Higher Education Science Research and Innovation Policy Council, or NEXPO, which is a secretariat office for this council. The name is pretty long, but we have the short abbreviation for everything. So NEXPO is their organization. In our level, in orange color, we have the policy deployment and budget allocation. So the country put the money in what we call National Science Research Fund in our institute, which is our organization is called Thailand Science Research and Innovation. So here we have two more abbreviations. So NSRF for the fund and TSRI for the organization. And our organization is, we have like 3 committees to supervise on our funding allocation. The first one is Science Research and Innovation Promotion Committee. This one is the main body for deciding on budget allocation and policy deployment. And we also have the board of TSRI directors. This one is the one that governs the institute, like choosing who can be the vice president, who can be the president in our institutes, for example. And the other one is monitoring and evaluation of science research and innovation committee. So this board is about the evaluation of what we have already funded in the long term, whether it has good impact or not, something like that. So we have 3 boards, which is very extraordinary in Thailand to have such many boards. Okay, so the next level below, we have the funding level. In this one, we have 9 PMU or program management unit. They are like granting agencies in Thailand, both within the Ministry of Science, Research and Innovation and also outside. Like we have SWG, which is like for agricultural research from Ministry of Agriculture. And we also have SWRS, like for the health system from the Ministry of Health, something like that. So we have specific agendas for each different PMUs. So that's why we have 9 of them. And then we also support the budget to the operation units like universities, research institutes, or ministry departments. Okay, so we have about 185 organizations that we funded through this funding modality we call fundamental fund. Okay, and the one that we supported through the program management unit we call strategic fund. Okay, right, next. So here TSRI, just to get you to know us a bit more. So what is the role of TSRI in this system? So we have the role to formulate the national plan for science, research and innovation in Thailand. So it's a 5-year plan, stated the flagships and the program that allocating the money into. Okay, and then we allocate the money into that programs, which will be given to the PMUs, the public and non-public organizations within Thailand. And then we also empower the SRI, may I short Science Research and Innovation as SRI institutions, because when we give money, we also monitor their success, right? And we also monitor their unsuccess parameters, whether we can improve them in terms of management or in terms of strengthen the capacity of the organizations. And also we promote the research utilization, okay, by developing and implementing relevant scheme and measures. We have a specific budget allocated for the research utilization itself. And also we have the monitor and evaluate of the impacts. Okay, so this is going to be like PDCA. So after you have seen the evaluation results, and then you can improve the plan, and then coming to the allocation. It's like a cycle. Okay. Next, for the budget that we allocated in Thailand, we can specify into 4 subgroups. May introduce the first one, the research and innovation. The first one is called FF, Fundamental Fund. This one is about 35 to 40% of the money giving to the agencies in the SRI system, and about the 60% of our money is giving through the strategic fund. This one we have the strategic plans that I mentioned earlier in number 1. We have the national plan on that, and we're giving through the program management unit or PMUs. And as I said, we have specific RU or research utilization money given from the government to promote the utilization of research, and this one giving through the PMU as well. And the second below that you see the budget for science and technology development. This one is about the investment in infrastructure, also the development of the standards, which is related to what we are talking today as well. This one giving through the agencies in the SRI system according to their missions. Okay. Right. Second part. Next. Okay. So this one is from UKRIO. So the concept is actually international, I think. If we talk about the positive research culture, okay, we mentioned about three things. The first one is research integrity. The second one is research ethics. And the third one is responsible research and innovation. It seems like more on the methodology, okay? So in Thailand, we have, may I talk the above first? We have, may I call it National Research Standards Regulator. We have a unit within the NRCT or WSHO, is National Science Research Council institution. This one of Thailand, they have the specific department that have to regulate the research integrity and also govern the ethic committees in each institutions, okay, for the SOP, what they are going to do in have the ethic committee proven for research topics in specific area, like the research in human, the research in animal, or some questionnaire sets that we ask for the vulnerable people who probably have the severe incident in their lives, something like that. And the down below, responsible research and innovation, we have WSO, which is another department in Thailand, regulates the methods, and we have like accreditation body to check whether the labs comply with the safety, comply with the machine is already been calibrated or something like that. If I can say it as a national quality infrastructure or NQI. So this one will be focusing more on the machines, the methods, okay? And if we talk about research integrity, okay, this one probably is something you have already known about. If we practice research, we need to be honest in all aspects of research, from the plan, from the methods, from the data collection, from the credit that we're giving to our partners, okay, and we report facts, data that we collected, and interpretation must be correct, right? It's scientific, and research methodology need to be appropriate. We need rigorous results if we are going to publish something. So we need to follow protocols. We need to interpret data correctly, and also drawing conclusion with our expertise, okay, and need to be peer reviewed. So we're not decided on our own perspectives, but need to be agreed on the people who are experts in our field, right? So these two, rigorous honesty, is very important, okay? And then it's coming to the transparency that now people are talking more about. If we publish, some may ask for the supplementary documents, or some may need you to disclose the data, the raw data, I mean, to report the full methods, to report the results, sharing codes, sharing materials, right? And declaring the conflict of interest. So this is transparency. We also need to be accountable, okay, for everyone involved in the research project. So if you're working in a big team, whether it's inter organization, it's very hard in Thailand, I would say, or maybe some other country as well. So if we have the very big consortium to work in the different organization, some organization may feel like this is our duty, this is our team responsibility. So how we can decide it on contribution should be fair, should be accepted among all the people joining in the group, right? And also the funding bodies, you need to acknowledge them, right? Otherwise, it's not about giving credit only, but for them to ask for the money from the policymakers next year. Okay, so if you not acknowledge the funding bodies, so the results, the work, the accomplishments is not accredited, is not feel like accepted by the policymakers. So it's very hard for them to ask for money next year. So this is a thing, right? And we need to respect our colleagues, okay? Also other researchers. Some field of research may talking about religions, social backgrounds, ethnic groups. So we need to be very, very respectful, okay? Also for the participants that joining in the project, if we asking them questions, we have to think carefully on what they are going to feel about it, right? Okay. Also the animals, we have a good practice on animal research, and also we need to respect for our environment. So this, I think, for the key things, key principles for research integrity. Next page, please. And at TSRI, okay, we have established general research ethic guidelines for researcher, and this one is so this one is announced on the Royal Gazette for the regulations that our committee announced for the guidelines, okay, for every researchers having funded by our National Science Research Fund. And also we have a committee in charge of the research integrity, okay, to regulate and also adjudicate when we have complaints and petitions from the researchers, whether they are not treated fairly or their proposal given bad comments from the experts, which is not fair, something like that. We accept that, and we have the committee in charge of those, all right? And the second one, research integrity is also included as a flagship program in our plan. So we have many flagships in our plan from 2020 and 2027. So in this field, if we can establish new environment, new scheme, new regulations, people can submit the proposals to designed and proposed, okay? And the third one, we also have established good research and innovation management practice. I can short as GRIP. This one is our director use the word GRIP for enhancing the research and innovation management system. So it's going to be employed to all the PMUs and the institutions that are receiving money from our fund. So I will talk about this in detail. Okay, right? Next, yes, GRIP. This part will involve on 5 principles, roughly, okay? So it's going to be focused in accountability, transparency, alignment, efficiency and effectiveness, and stakeholder engagement. From the UKIO, we have already talked about accountability and transparency, which is very similar, I would say. But for the rest, it's about using money worthwhile, and also responsible for the research management, okay, on the rest. Next. Okay, here I go for more details, a little bit more in each category. So in accountability, we need each PMU to deliver. So in our 5-year plans, we have delivery plan for each PMU to finish beforehand when they ask for the money each year, okay? So we need to see the clear plan and goal of the program, okay? Whether it can be achieved with the desired outcomes from the program that we decided in the first place, okay? And also I have a role to supervise and monitor the operation to achieve the goals and of the responsible program. So as I said, in the 5-year plans, we have the specific flagships and programs. So they are responsible by different PMUs, and some flagship they are responsible by 2 PMU, something like that. So each of these need to be discussed frequently, maybe 2 or 3 times a year to talking about the impact pathway. So I have constantly introduced a new word. Impact pathway is like key milestones that each PMU set earlier for them to achieve like a 5-year goal, okay? To ensure the effective public and policy communication as well. So we need trust from the public. Somebody has already mentioned in the word cloud, we need public trust because we use the public money to give to the PMU, right? On transparency, at the moment, we cannot do like raw data disclosure or those kind of thing because it's going to be a huge amount of work. But we do promote the transparency, like the process for calling proposal, the process for screening proposal, who will be the experts in the committee to review your work, something like that. This is going to be open. So we have the policy to open data. Okay, so we're gonna open the process, and we also going to open the budget, like when we have the budget from the government, how much is given to each category, how much is given to each program or flagship, something like that. This one is going to be announced, and each PMU, how much they receive each year, something like that. But in terms of the big amount, like each plan, how much money, each program, how much money, we have already announced every year. But each PMU, how much they received money, we haven't announced, but we are going to announce next year, okay? And transparency in organization management, like appointment of the committee to judge, okay, the executives, the experts, because in the process of granting or allocating money, we have a pool of knowledgeable persons to help formulating the scheme or having comments. This one going to be open. Who are those people, right? Also, transparency in managing like complaints. So we have the committee I have already mentioned earlier. So the third one is alignment. As I mentioned, some flagships is responsible by 2 PMU, so they have to be aligned. Otherwise, they cannot finish our 5-year goal together, right? So also in our layered system, as I said in the very first page, we have like 5 layers from the policy deployment and budget allocation. We have the granting agency or PMU program management unit until the operation unit like university or institutions. Alignment is very important because we have so many layers here. So what we decided at above level, how can we making sure that the researchers really understand the goal of each program? So alignment is very important. And efficiency and effectiveness. We use like past performance to monitor each PMU and each institutions when they're conducting research after having having budget from our institute, and so we following up if they tend to have the performance low, so we can decide on whether they can have less money next year, something like that. So this will make an incentive for them to perform well and accountable for the money that they received. Okay, so and make sure that they use the budget worthwhile. So we have the project analyst at our institution in charge of each institution to taking care of the budget analysis. Okay, and we have also expertise in each issue. We call SAT, another abbreviation as strategic agenda team. Okay, so this one is like a team of content experts that we use to formulate plans, to consult in each situation in the funding, something like that. So we have this about more than 10 teams in TSRI. All right. We also continue nurture and developing new researchers also. We have the program for the new researcher when they're starting career. And also we have like the regulation informing them that each year when they receive the budget, they should spare like 20% of their budget for the new researchers, something like that. And monitoring and evaluation, of course, for the outcome and impacts of the fundings. And finally, the stakeholder engagement. So the participatory process is very important since we're making the 5-year plan. So we try to involve stakeholders, I mean, the users, the beneficiaries, the experts in the field, to have their opinions in the process, okay, from the start. And then also, if each PMU would like to exercise on the RU program, what we call research utilization program, they need stakeholders to engage in the problem development process. So to make sure that the problem is relevant, okay, what they are going to do will have users or beneficiaries, something like that. So this part is about GRIPT. Next. Right. This one is, I think, is a rule of thumb, how to conduct good research, but I will following this during research and post research. Okay, this one we have information from the National Science and Technology Development Agencies. All right, so it will be maybe similar to what your organizations are doing as well. So from the start, we have to choose well, right, the research question. And we have to really careful on the laws, which is not going to be break, right? Okay, we are not going to make like a nuclear explosion in our lab, something like that. Biohazard principle. And if you're performing like chemical research, you have to check whether it's safe, right? To store, to use, and to have your students involved in those chemicals. And the safety of the labs will be regulated by the institution and following our regulation as well. So we are not harming any students in our lab, right? And we also need to consider the relevant standards. So I have already mentioned about the lab. The lab can have the standard like ISO, which is everyone accepted. And also we have ESPREL, which is not international, but Thailand standards. Okay, ESPREL is a safety standards that, okay, is fine. I mean, if you have ESPREL, it's fine. You don't need to like, every lab need ISO, it's no need. But if you're going to serve the industry, I mean, you also use your research result or your analysis data for industrial sector. That one you need ISO, okay? And also the FDA, if relevant, okay? Of course, the person who in charge of the research must be an expert. You're not going to make a physicist doing a chemical research, right? So you're gonna be the expert in the field, right? And having the standardized equipment, this is very important. So if you have the machine probably bought 20 years ago and is still running, you need to carefully check that it's giving the reliable data, it's giving reliable results, right? So for example, if you use like X-ray diffraction instruments, if you use a very low quality ones, you cannot see the impurities. Of course, you cannot see it. It's under the peak. You need to calibrate, and you need to upgrade your machine to give you a reliability, to give you reliable results, right? This one also very important for the person who in charge of biological research. If you're going to test your lab with animals or some human clinical trial, you need to be approved by ethics committee. This one is known, okay? You cannot conduct research without having those approval, right? Okay, now coming to the during research. When you are doing research, okay, you need to be aware of the research ethics, of course. We have that guidelines published in the Royal Gazette, as I said, okay? So you need to read that carefully. And also NRCT in charge of the unit in the regulation, you need to also check the regulations related to your research. And we need to confident in our research materials. In here, I mean also confident in also your chemical as well. If you are going to do like chemistry research, some chemicals we bought, we need to store them correctly. Some chemicals may be absorbing water, for example. You need to store them in the right place. Okay, desiccator or some no moisture refrigerator, something like that. So you need to keep it correctly, and also having them used correctly, right? So if you publish something and you said this one is 5% impurities, but actually it's 10. So this one is not going to be reliable results, right? So also during the research, if you use the right materials, you using the right methodology, you also need to collect the data and recording them correctly, right? If you use everything correct and then your student is perhaps write the number wrong or misplaced of something, some information, that one is not going to be interpreted correctly, right? So this one also very important. And having data management, I would say nowadays people conducting research in a very complex way or very complicated problems. So we collect the data from many machines and maybe the collaboration from many research team. So we have to manage the data very well because we have plenty of data, right? So from many folders, many day of experiments. So we need to do them very carefully. And also we need to make sure that our research result can be replicated. Okay, so this one also mentioned in the word cloud, reproducibility, right? So you would not do anything that people cannot reproduce because that won't be reliable. Maybe in some field of research, it would be very hard to replicate. May I say like biochemistry, something like that. If you do the research in this room temperature or this level of conditions when you're doing somewhere else, it can be not reproduced, something like that. It may be possible, but this one also really not acceptable in terms of research standards, because if we make sure that the condition is reproducible, that means we write down everything. And your temperature, say, if it's going to be say 0.5 degree different and cause the change in your data, you need to be really aware that temperature factor is very important, and you need more precise way to measure your temperature, something like that. So in any case, even it is acceptable or not, it's not acceptable if your research cannot be reproduced. Okay, and also have the mentoring system. This one very important. Sorry, may I have a few seconds because my cat is going to be outside.
So maybe there we are waiting for our speaker. If you have any questions, please
No,
note
I'm here.
down.
I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because
I'll give back to you.
my cat is keeps crashing the door, so that's why. Sorry, sorry about that. Right. For the mentoring system, this one is also very important when you have students in your lab, right? So you're not really trust everyone. I mean, they have pressure to finish the degree, they have pressure to finish the research. So you need to mentor them. I mean, both in scientific way and mental way. I mean, how to support them and giving them reliability and trust environment that they can speak truth to you. All right. Next page, please. Post-research, of course, if you are going to this step, not going to be plagiarist, right? So you need to check plagiarism. Now we have software. So I think people can use a lot of tools to help you recheck the plagiarism. Also, considering appropriate authorship. This one I have already mentioned in the first place, that when you're working not only yourself. I mean, working with teams, working with other organizations, you need to care about the contribution given in the project. Okay, people may say about gift authorship, someone giving authorship as a gift, and ghost authorship, someone is not writing and you giving their name. This one is not appropriate. So we need to really taking care of this. All right. Deliver complete data to users. If you have been asked for, I mean, some other labs, they may use what we call stand on the shoulder of the giants. Okay, so this one is Newton's word. So we are going to create more value. We are going to create the top of our research following by the past research. So we need to really deliver the data to users. The one that is disclosed, the one that is shared is going to be open. Okay. But you're not sharing like participants in your research or something like that. So this one you need to be really taking care of because some may relate it to the PDPA, I mean the personal data issue. So there will be some type of data that you need to disclose and some type of data that you cannot disclose. So this one you need to really check the regulations that we have, right? Communication responsibly to the public and beneficiary. This one is very important, and I think many organizations we saw they overclaim what they have found, what they find in the research. I mean, they would like to make something that they found in a very early stage that this is one going to be that useful. This was going to be this impact. So we need to communicate to the public and beneficiaries responsibly. We cannot overclaim what we are going to happen. If you are going to claim it can be that good, you need to pass some standard setting by the FDA. You need to pass some standard setting by other regulations, something like that before announcement. Okay, so people like to be in the news or in the social web page that we find this is going to be that good. So this one need to be really careful. Okay, and finally, everything getting the public fund, okay, need to be ready for investigated. So in case of there are something wrong and there are complaints, you are prepared, okay, to be investigated. We also need evidence, your what we call your book that you note down the research results, data that you collected. That one need to be ready in hand for investigation, right? So if you have complaints, you have other issues, then you can prove yourself, right? So by the way, finally, we're having a system, we are having now the system to develop and assess and ensure the quality and ethical standards of research in Thailand. So in TSAI level, we have the committee that I mentioned in the first page, and in RCT, there is a unit in charge of research standards. And very important, in each institution, there is also the institutional review board. If you are going to have the research project with participants, that one need to be approved by the IRB, okay? And also the ethics committees. If you are going to have an experiment with animal or human clinical trial, this one need to be approved as well. So basically, I think we do have this system in Thailand, and there is still also room of improvement. And as I said, if we have a room of improvement, there is a flagship program in our plan as well for people to submit their proposal and get the money to improve our system. So now I think I can have your questions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, P-Boy, for Dr. Nirawat for comprehensive explanations and also the presentation from the national levels down to the institution as well of what have been done in Thailand. So I think now we would like to open the floor for the questions, Q&A. So yeah, okay, that's good. I think that today is quite a lot of people joining, and I'm sorry last time we have to postpone and haven't told you the reason, because P-Boy has to be, well, Dr. Nirawat has to be in the board meeting, so it's a super board, and I think he has to present the agenda and it needs to have the endorsement, right? So those are very important, and that's why we have to postpone, and he's willing to make it up for us today. So I think
Apologies
it's
for
very
that.
rare. It's very rare case that we have him. So I think we should take the this opportunity to ask him the questions, because he see the overview of the whole research landscape in Thailand. And this is something that we can learn from you as well. So any questions? I think Peter has the hand raised. Please, Peter.
What are the new challenges concerning artificial intelligence? It's a big discussion here in Germany whether actually it's allowed or not, and there has been quite a transformation of the nature of the debate last year when it started, and now everyone seems to accept it, but it's still not clear whether you have to, for example, in research work, whether you have to document the prompts or so, or whether you used it at all, or whether that is now standard like Google. So can you comment on that?
Yes, that's really tough question, because we are experiencing now, and probably I think in terms of readiness in our research ethics may be too slow comparing to the technology itself. Okay, so it is proof that AI is very useful, and I think in terms of utilitarian, we need to use things that is useful for our research. But by the way, it need to be transparent. It need to be mentioned in AI in many forms, right? So some they can create contents. So this one needs to be also be informed as like AI generated data, something like that. But the thing is, we are going to have the clear framework or guidelines on AI as well in Thailand. As I mentioned in the plan, that we also have a room for this flagship to improve the standards of research, to improve the ethics, that people can submit the proposal. That's why we have this program, because we never know in the future what's going to be emerge like AI or some other that can be affected on our research practice. And this one is proven that it's going to be affected, right? So we are developing guidelines or a framework considering using AI in our research. We are not prohibiting people from using AI, but we are going to have the guidelines for them if they use it in our research. That's the thing.
Thank you, Dr. Nirawat. I can also share that last week in Indonesia, UNESCO also host a meeting together with the Ministry of Education talking about this particular topic. And UNESCO feels the need as well that they should have the kind of general guidelines for the AI integration in higher education, including the management. How can you use the AI in the management system of the higher education? How far you can do it, and also they talk about the integration of AI in the research. So some said, like what you just mentioned, Dr. Nirawat, that perhaps you have to be transparent by saying that this part AI is doing it. This part I'm co-author with AI. This part I am doing it. But then to check and to be able to come up with the tools to track that, I think it would be very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so I think the floor is open. Yes, I think Shinta wants to have the question as well, please.
Yeah, a very nice and really great presentation, Dr. Nirawat. So I think in your explanation, you mentioned a lot about how Thailand built the system and develop everything related with research integrity. But my question is more on maybe you already have a statistic numbers or data related with the violation against this kind of research integrity, and what kind of sanction that's maybe the state given to the individual researcher or to the institution. Is there any cases that happen in Thailand that really, of course, you do not need to mention about the institution name or people, but at least to give us the ideas about this kind of research integrity that's happened in Thailand? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We do have the practice measure on that. Yes, in Thailand, I cannot say that we are 0 persons violating is not true. We do have some people violating the regulations. What I say is the first measure is done by the organization itself, whether they're going to be, everyone has a contract, okay, and each contract, one sentence would say ethical issue. So they have measures on that, whether they can be suspended, they can be getting into the committee to ask for the fact, or they can actually exile from the institution. So we have that cases recently on you probably seen in Nature news on the high prolific authors, and in that case in Thailand we have about 19 high prolific authors, that I mean people that publish like 100 papers a year, something like that. So this come to the investigation, and some of them they are truly active researchers. I mean, they collaborate with other teams, or they are having a big how can I say, consortium research, and when they're coming up each research paper, there are like many names in the paper because they are very big team, especially in the high energy physics area. This one is possible for some people can be truly active, okay, but some is not true. I mean, some you probably have heard about the purchasing paper, someone that you know written a paper online and asking for authorship by paying their money. This one also coming to the conclusion that that one is not now in Thailand. I mean, they fired from the organization and not having a job in Thailand, something like that. So I mean, in the organization level, they can do this without us, okay? But for us, we also have a raising concern in our committee about this. And the one that we do it, we force each organization to check carefully, not only the 19 high prolific researchers, we enforce them to check carefully the regulation that we have, that you are comply. So I mean, each organization's executives need to enforce, recheck, and coming to the point that they need to check carefully, not only 19 person in the news, but in all the institution employees that they have, whether they follow or comply our regulations. That's the thing. And also we have those names that proved that they are guilty, okay, within our committee. So if they are going to submit the research proposal to get a grant from our funding, they are not allowed. That's the thing. So it's a strong measure in our system, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Peter was writing in the chat, the persons who push for the research integrity must be very strong. To challenge professors is not easy. How do you solve these problems? Mm.
Yes.
And actually, just to follow up on Dr. Nirawat's explanation, these 19 persons, some of them has been in the court case as well.
Yes.
Because it's a forgery of the documents, right? So it's not only the institutions get rid of them, and also the funding agencies no longer supported them, but actually they have to also go into the court case. But I think all of this is the consequences of, in Thailand, they are pushing for the ranking, and people wants to publish with a lots of paper, in the highly indexed journal. And this is why it's happening. So there were a lot of talk of what to do with this.
Yeah, this comes to our responsibility as well. Like people said, because of we are giving money according to performance, and then people need to prove the performance by publish a lot to earn the credential for having budgets, having grants, something like that. But we actually mentioned publicly that the ranking, the research merit is not really consider only the profile of the authors, or the person who is PI or project investigator only, but we also care about the merit of the research. We also care about the quality of your proposal. those are things, and we also state very strongly that we encourage the new researchers to have a chance to access the fund. And this year will be the first year that we say in our letter to the organization that 20% of the money must be given to new researchers.
See, my problem is that, I mean, there are so many temptations, and in your presentation you nicely showed how many temptations are there on that road towards research integrity. And if you assume in your own institution there is someone not following the guidelines, what to do? I mean, there are Nobel laureates. The other day I was reading about a German Nobel laureate where they question what is actually, is that proper research what they did. So let's assume you as a young researcher observe and see there might be something wrong. It's very difficult to say something. Even if I suspect with a colleague that he or she is not doing the right thing, it's very, very difficult to say something, because I mean, you really potentially damage the reputation. So at the same time, we have to do something. We have to make it an issue in our institution. So when things are already wrong, it's very difficult to address it, and it's messy and dirty and so forth and the like. So I think the management advice is to be proactive and to work in an early stage towards culture, to make it a point every day, and not every day, but on a regular basis.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you have like a renowned scientist, if you said like Nobel laureates, that would be very difficult to handle this properly. I mean, even the head of the organization, I mean, the dean of the university or director of the university wouldn't say like, yeah, your research is rubbish or something like that to the Nobel laureates, right? I mean, this is the case that I think is potentially be important for Thailand in the future. I mean, now we don't have any Nobel laureates in our country. I mean, but I mean, we will certainly have the big name professors, probably in charge of a big research grant or something like that, that's facing this case. And what we are going to do, I mean, when we have money or budget to the organization, we first the first thing that we normally do is we talk to the head of that organization, even their director, the president of the institution, because they have the governing rules, because that one is the employee of that institution, right? Whether they can do something, maybe not only by the research, but not only but getting them to investigate it, something like that in the power. So that's the thing that we would do first for us to talk to the head of the institution. And another thing is the committee, because I'm like a secretariat body, so we exercise power to the institutions, and we also have the power above us, so we can consult them whether we should have any measure regarding this case. It can be challenging, maybe I would say challenging, but as a secretary, we need to provide option. Maybe the option like blacklist this person from having grants from now, provoke them from having this title in professorship or something like that. We can also have those power in the committee. It's not easy. Yeah.
I think I see many people, especially rectors, vice chancellor, presidents, and I know that the systems in our region is not perfect. I mean, Thailand may have a head start on the setting up the system on the national levels. But I would like to invite all of you, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, there's a lot of things I have to do in the institutions. What should I do? Where should I start? So if you have a question, I invited you to put on the camera, unmute, and also ask the questions, because you probably see many cases already, so if you would like to do that, then I would like to invite you to ask the questions. Okay, I think I would like to invite the rector from East Yangon University, Professor Nevin U. Would you want to share the comment or ask the question, please? Prof. Nevin U, good to see you. Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Many thanks for your sharing about the research and innovation in Thailand. So I learned a lot from you. And also I'm considering that your system is very comprehensive and effective. I see that. So, but we would like to also learn from you that what kind of issues and problems when you are conducting this system. And also I asked into by chat, so there's some of the information that I would like to know that your institution is supporting the research, like a research funding or research grant to not only in the Thailand or and other countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I start answering the last question first. By having the public grant in Thailand, yeah, I can say that we cannot giving this grant to other countries members directly. I mean, you are not going to be the PI submitting the proposal through the system each year, that we have about 20 billion baht each year for supporting the whole nation. But indirectly, I think the members of ASEAN can benefit from our investment. As I said, we also supporting like a synchrotron research facility. We also supporting like a nuclear reactor for doing some station on diffraction or bombardment, ion implantation, plasma. We also have many infrastructure in Thailand that being invested by the government. and some national agencies that taking care of this infrastructure, they are welcome people from ASEAN country to use the facilities. I can see many people from ASEAN at the Synchrotron Light Research Institutes. They even come for the summer school, like some PhD students that come for a summer school, and some can be the potential users in the future in the facility. Something like this is happening. Sorry, I forgot the first question. อะไรนะพี่โม
I'd like to know about the and also we would like to learn from you that in your systems we saw that in your presentation is very comprehensive and systematic, but even the very systematic program or way, but we can be faced some kind of the issues and problem. Do you have such kind of issues?
Yes.
I'd like to know that one.
Thank you. In the national plan, we have 4 strategies that divided into different agenda. I mean, the first one will be very focusing on the economic development, the competitiveness. So this research scheme, they have like so many programs under like supporting BCG, like bio circular green topics, ATMPs like medicinal products, clean energy. So this one is about competitiveness. We have the second program in charge of the social development, also the area development. So this one encourage inclusiveness, encourage like peace, encourage like the one that touch in like social science. And the third one is about the frontier research and also the infrastructure development. So we're supporting like investing in new infrastructure for research excellence, also the standards of research also in this particular strategy. And the fourth one is about human resources. So we develop new researchers, and also the career path of the scientists. This one is focusing the strategy number 4. And the one that is not what I say, it can be like a white space, or it's like a open room for anything that can be urgent, anything that can be very important. We call it program 24, because in total we have 25 programs. That program 24 can be giving for the one that is not in the plan. Okay, so it's not something that urgent, something that important, or something that the policy makers endorse that this one need to be done.
I think that's the first question was really important because it's actually a possible opportunities for collaborations. So you hear it already that you can collaborate with the labs. You just have to know what labs you need. That's one, no? And then you collaborate with them. But Thailand has offered this space, so for you to actually work with them, so you can access us, if you want to explore more of the opportunities. That's one. Secondly, indirectly, you can work with the Thai partners in these programs.
Yes,
you
of course.
You have like
students.
6 universities, right, from Thailand, and they can actually apply for the funding, and you can work with them. I think through that way, you can actually request it for the funding from the Thai agencies, and they have big fundings, and they would like to actually resolve some of the regional challenges. For example, like the smog at the moment, right? The air quality is very bad, so there are some issues that actually we can work together, or the international rivers management, or the climate change. This is the area that I think Thailand is also paying a lot of interest with. However, I would like to also still encourage you to ask the questions. I think maybe one of the questions, P-Boy, Dr. Nirawat, if you today have been appointed to be the president, right? And you know that the system is not perfect, and you are not researchers yourself, right? But you have to make sure that the research that is coming out from your university has the integrity and is a good research. What would be the first thing you do?
Wow. The first thing I do there are many things to do actually. So especially the thing that awareness is very hard to make sure that it's success in one day. So I would say the first thing to do, maybe I would ask the money from the government, because I'm in the position that asking for money, basically. So I'm gonna ask the money for the government, let them see the importance in research integrity, the research standards, and get a new wave of investment in our country for the standards of research. I mean, get instruments calibrated, get the lab, the quality accredited, get the people who actually being the people who analysts of the instruments, the people who measure things for the scientists to be eligible. I mean knowledgeable enough to interpret and make it correctly. So I think this thing is the environment that need to be really improved and also supported to be at a good condition for the researcher ecosystem.
Okay, so you are saying that raising awareness, looking for funds, and also making sure that whatever is needed as a facilities are in a good condition to produce a good research, right? Okay. Any other questions? Any sharing? Maybe you can throw in your challenge. You have tried to do something and it was just so challenging at your university. Maybe you can also share. Anyone?
Just short
Yes.
question. I
Yes,
think
please.
Dr. Nirawat, you mentioned about the impact pathway
Yeah.
in research. So can you elaborate a little bit longer about how your institution, I mean the TSRI, measure the impact pathway of individual researcher maybe, or university level?
Okay, thank you very much. So I can give more details on that. Basically, when I will start from the 5-year plan that we call the SRI plan that our institution in charge of. And in that, each program, we have the thing called OKR. It's like objectives and the key results that we are expected to see when the plan finish in 5 years. So the OKR in each program, it is listed as outcome, as a result that we are going to see. But normally when the researcher, they conduct research, they're going to give you outputs, right? So like publications, how many students, how many patents, how many, it's not going to be really well connected to the outcome that we decide for each program, because when we say the outcome, we need the national salary increase, we need like poverty reduced, we need something like that. It is much bigger goal. Basically, each PMU, each program management unit, when they are having the money from us and they're in charge of KR, we talk to them that this is a 5-year goal. So we have that as a goal, and each year from now until the 5 years, what you are going to do by, putting outputs together that become on the pathway into that outcome to generate impacts in the future. So they have to make like a milestone, okay, five years milestone. Like, for example, if they are going to support the space program to have like our own prototypes flying to the moon, something like that. So this year, they are the first year, they are going to have a consortium that gather experts from each organization and talk about the conceptual design, which part, which contribution, what they are going to do in each organization responsibilities. And then the second year they make prototypes. The third year they test some I mean, that is not the real condition, but there gonna be some lab condition that generate like vacuum, the right temperature, we can generate the fake condition like in the space in our own lab. So they're gonna test that prototype, make sure that it works, something like that. So each milestones need to be checked whether it is realistic, it is sufficient, the money that's given is sufficient, and the key actors they are capable of delivering each milestones. So if we keep collecting the right milestone, the first, third, and the fourth year, and in the fifth year, we are guaranteed that we are going to achieve the outcomes, right? And the outcomes already been designed based on impacts that we are going to have in each strategy. Because I said in the structure of our plan is like a strategy 1, 2, 3, 4. Each has the strategy for impacts, and under that strategy we have the programs which listed OKRs in each program. So basically, it's going to be aligned, okay, from the outputs from each single person in the lab can be aligned by the PMU to make outcomes, and us as a budget allocator can align those outcomes for the impacts, and this we call impact pathway, right?
I see. Because I'm thinking about having or evaluating the impact is somehow quite difficult. We need to have a quite long-term goal, and sometimes it's not possible for the fundamental research. But I think from your explanation, this is more on the strategic fund, yeah, maybe for the applied research funding.
You're correct, because this one is designed on the strategic fund only.
Okay.
Because the fundamental fund is like empower or strengthen. Yes, that's true.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nirawat Thamachak, for giving us a good big picture and also a good base for the principals, for the people who have to lead the university. Because at the end of the day, if you are the administrator, you are not supposed to do research by yourself, but you have to make sure that the ecosystem is there and you lead the organization so that we can actually accomplish in producing good research, and that needs to have the integrity as well. So recap, he has mentioned about the research integrity, which we have to take into consideration the honesty, the rigor, transparency, respect, and also accountability. He also shared with us the grips, and also thinking about the whole process of pre, during, and post research. So with this, shall we give him a round of applause? And also, if you may show your face a little so that he can see who you are. So there are lots of many universities rector today, P-Boy, from the 6 countries, Thailand, Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, and also Timor-Leste. So thank you so much. And next, Ploy.
Okay, so we before we end the session, we have a little activity for you all, which is Mentimeter. You may please scan this QR code. We have a last question for today, which is what are your key takeaways from this sharing? So you may also access this link in the meeting chat that I just dropped in the group chat, or you can also scan this QR code from the presentation that is sharing. Okay. So we would like to hear how it's today and what have you take away from this sharing. All right. So we are still waiting for the responses. Okay, we have one response. Hold on a minute. Okay. Okay, so we have 6 responses. Thailand practice for good research. Learn a lot from professor of how to conduct a good research. Systematic research integrity, importance of national system of research. Create a good research culture. Systematic work is required and it's very important. The way to handling good research, also perspective of how to handle the research integrity, as well as the best practice for budget allocation, both fundamental and strategic fund. So majority say I see a lot of words mentioning about the system or systematic research integrity or yeah. So which we also encourage all the university leader to come up with like the initiative or we are that whom we can also improve the research system at the institution as well. And a few more, which is the way to measure the AI generated research work and also the new comprehensive perhaps like system or methodology on the research. Okay, so I think that's it for this sharing from you all. And before we really end this session, I have a few of announcements that we would like to make. So Hinat, could you share the slide?
Is it you asked me to share the slides?
No,
No?
it's
Okay, sorry.
sorry.
Maybe in my presentation, if anyone would like to have it, you can give them the materials. Okay.
Thank you. I will share to the group. Hinat, can you share the Canva slide? Okay, probably some internet connection. I will just share. So for the next session, we have the SIG Virtual Enrichment Day, and the topic will be on how to become a successful researcher, experience sharing, which is still tentative name, and the speaker will be informed, and we will announce to you all again. And the date for the SIG Virtual Enrichment Day will be on the 5th June, the same time from 2 to 3:30 Bangkok time. So as the last information for today's we also the SMERA had also organizing the 2024 Interregional Research Symposium. We are currently open for call for abstracts, and now the duration time is still in the early bird. So this the theme for the symposium is on transforming higher education towards sustainable development, and we have 3 tracks of the themes, including the digital transformation, flexible learning pathways, and also the higher education role in climate actions. So if you are interested and would like to know more for information, you may also scan the QR code on the screen, and also information or link which we already sent to all of your email. So I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward for your fruitful continuous engagement again in the next following sessions. Thank you very much and have a good day to all.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
ขอบคุณนะคะ
Thank
อาจารย์
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
our speaker Dr. Nirawat for your sharing today
ขอบคุณ
ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Hello,
much.
thank you.